The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to round number 6 of the 2017 Hyperstimulator New Zealand Supercars League. We are at Winton Raceway for what is hopefully going to be another exciting round of racing in the league. Currently, practice has just finished, so we are about to go qualifying. And we will have a couple of minutes before we do that, just to let everybody get ready and everything. And once we are all ready, we'll go qualifying for which will be a one-lap shootout style for everyone to try and get pole position. Currently sitting at the top of the timesheets for practice is Aaron Wilson, followed by Brad Jesson. Wilson sitting at the top with a 22.4 and Jesson sitting on a 22.6. Then you go back to Taylor Oakes, Luke Dunsford, Daniel Bugler, Jason Wilds, Daniel Kinsman, Peter Reid, Rob Derrick, Darren Aaron, Nathan Addis, Craig Priest, Trevor Christensen, Tony Dance, Sean Petrie, and that is it. 15 cars on this tight and twisty little circuit here in Winton. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be very busy for these guys, so hopefully it is another good night's racing. Alrighty, it is qualifying time. So the idea is to have one warm-up lap and then one flying lap, and that is it. If you get that flying lap wrong, it's pretty much all over for you. As people start to leave the garages, by the looks of it, it is Rob Derrick who is at the front of the line, followed by Tony Dance. No, it is actually Brad Jessen, sorry. Then it goes back to Jason Miles, Taylor Oakes, Rob Derrick, and then Tony Dance. And Peter Reid, I believe it is leaving pit lane in the... no, it's Matthew Kinsman, actually, in the 00 Craig Lowndes-style green-eyed monster. Followed by Chris Bramley and Trevor Christensen. Sean Petrie now leaving his pit box to start their warm-up lap. Luke Dunsford not too far behind. So this is going to be an interesting session to see who gets pole and who starts at the back, because this track is not easy to get a good lap around, especially when it's this short and tight. Very technical circuit it is, so it'll be interesting to see who can get where, as Tony Dance just decides he'll wander off into the grass area. So I would say Nathan Addis has just left pit lane, so Rob Derrick is going to be the first to set a time by the looks of it as he comes through the final section now. He's going to be the first man to start his laps, and it is going to be, I believe, Brad Jessen in behind him. I'll make sure. No, it's not actually. I'm mistaken. It is... trying to find on my other monitor here who it is. Matthew Kinsman actually. So Kinsman now on a flying lap. Darren Owen is just leaving pit lane now. Trying to find... so Brad Jessen is on a flying lap. Taylor Oakes is on a flying lap. Jason Wilds is on a flying lap. Rob Derrick obviously on a flying lap, and so is Matthew Kinsman. Trevor Christensen, Tony Dance, Sean Petrie, and Chris Bramley all on flying laps. Bramley is currently in pit lane for some strange reason, as he leaves pit lane now. That's not sure what's happened there, but anyway, as Rob Derrick comes through to the final part, what's he going to do and set the benchmark to be in terms of qualifying pace? He was just recently at Indy, so he knows how important qualifying actually is. As Brad Jessen goes to the top of the timesheets with a 22.8. Jason Miles with a 25.0, and he's pipped by Taylor Oakes, who does a 24.004. Rob Derrick about to cross the line, and he's going to be doing a 1 minute 24.685. As Jason Miles is just parked in off the track, and so is Rob Derrick, as Matthew Kinsman goes across the line with a 23.805 to put him P2. So Brad Jessen currently sitting on pole at the moment, provisionally. Tony Dance is set a lap with a 25.1. Just ahead of him is Trevor Christensen with a 25.107. Literally 7 thousandths of a second separating the two. Sean Petrie has completed his lap with a 127.182. Number of drivers on the 24s. 2 people actually. 3 in the 25s, 1 in the 22s. Currently Brad Jessen still sitting on pole. What's Bramley going to do here? Is Peter Reid goes to P2 with a 123.518. Chris Bramley does a... no, I believe he's starting his lap actually. I do apologise. So Luke Dunsford is actually P2 with a 23.264. So he's pipped Peter Reid to P number 2 or a front row start provisionally. So Nathan Addis has done his lap with a 24.306. Yes, it is, just confirming that. So the number of people yet to set a lap are Craig Priest, Chris Bramley, Daniel Bugler, Daniel Kinsman, Darren Owen, and Andrew Jones, I believe, as everybody else is in pit lane from having finished their lap. Sean Petrie just finishes his lap, I believe. Yes, to do a 28.004, so he sits 12th as Craig Priest finishes his lap with a 24.021 to put him at P number 8. Not his greatest performance, to be honest, as Andrew Jones comes through the back end of the circuit. Bit of an off there, that'll cost him a bit of time. Chris Bramley has done he's well down the order actually. He's done a 25.199. Aaron Wilson with a 156.168. I would say there's probably been a mistake there. Andrew Jones, the last person on track, as he's gone really wide at the last corner, and that's probably have totally ended it, or probably completely ruined his session, as he's gone a little bit sideways out of the final corner as well. So he is going to go P number 17. So he hasn't actually put it on last. He's done a 136.875. So the field very interestingly bunched up and mixed, to be honest. Brad Jessen with pole position by the looks of it, with a 22.839. Then we go back to Daniel Bugler with a 23.116. Luke Dunsford with a 23.264. Daniel Kinsman with a 23.491. Peter Reid with a 23.518. And then Matthew Kinsman with a 23.805. Taylor Oakes with a 24.004. Craig Priest with a 24.021. Nathan Addis with a 24.306. And then Darren Owen with a 24.408. Sorry. 480, sorry. I'm getting my numbers mixed up. That is your top 10. Then we go back to Rob Derrick, who sits in 11th with a 24.685. Then Jason Wilds with a 25.056. Trevor Christensen with a 25.107. Tony Dance with a 25.114. Literally, that is a very close margin, I'm not going to lie. That is extremely close. Probably the closest out of the field, I would have to say. Then we go back to Chris Bramley, your current championship leader, actually, by a very small margin as well, with a 25.199. Then you go back to Sean Petrie, Andrew Jones, and Aaron Wilson, who had mishaps on their laps. So Sean with a 27.182. Andrew Jones with a 36.875. And Aaron Wilson with a 56.168. So that is your grid for race number 1. So we'll come back shortly and get on with racing for race number 1, which will be 20 laps and 1 compulsory pit stop.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Rightio, it is race time here for round number 6. Brad Jessen starting on pole position for the very first time in his league career. Followed by Daniel Bugler in second, Luke Dunsford third, Daniel Kinsman fourth, Peter Reid fifth. That is the top 5. So everybody gridding up now. As the lights are on, we're on 3 sets of lights, 4 sets of lights. Lights are green and away we go. Bugler has not gone at all, and there's people bouncing off each other. Jessen with a great start heading into turn 1 as they all fall into turn 1. Reid's looking to go up the inside, but it hasn't worked on. Reid, there's been carnage further back involving Nathan Addis and a couple of others, I believe. So Nathan Addis, Matthew Kinsman and Tony Dance all involved in that, and I think a couple of others. So bit of argy-bargy into turn 1. It is very tight here, tight and twisty here at Winton, so it was probably bound to happen at some point. As a couple of cars showing some battle scars by the looks of it, with a little bit of body damage. We are running damage, so hence why. As Aaron Wilson getting a move up the inside of Craig Priest there. Matthew Kinsman looking to make a move as well, possibly on, I think it's Sean Petrie, but I'm not 100% sure, as he's going to go up the inside of Trevor Christensen, Aaron Wilson is. But that's going to compromise his turn for the next one, or has he got the job done? No, he's got it done. Very good stuff. Let's just scroll through the field quickly. So, Jessen running a bit wide there as he comes over the final corner curb. Luke Dunsford getting a little bit sideways there with a bit too much curb. So as they come across the line, it is Brad Jessen followed by Luke Dunsford, Peter Reid, Daniel Bugler, Taylor Oakes, Daniel Kinsman, Jason Wilds, Chris Bramley, Aaron Wilson, Trevor Christensen, Craig Priest, Darren Owen, Nathan Addis. Then down to Matthew Kinsman on the other page. Rob Derrick, Sean Petrie, Tony Dance, and Andrew Jones. So 18 drivers. Lap 1 is complete. As Luke Dunsford is doing fairly well here. He's actually picked up some pace in the past 2 rounds. He hasn't worn. Peter Reid getting a bit sideways there after using a bit of curb. So Bugler's all over the rear end of Peter Reid here. So I've got quite a battle for the podium here going on. And we're only 1 lap in, so this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Apparently a bit of carnage going on further back between Nathan Addis and Darren Owen. Just looking at that now on my other screen. And it appears Nathan's just pretty much fed Darren Owen off. I'm pretty sure he has readdressed, has he not? Yes, he is. He is readdressing. So Luke Dunsford has actually done the quickest lap of the race so far with a 23. No, it's Craig Priest actually. It was a 23.606, but now it's held by Craig Priest with a 23.484. So Luke Dunsford holding his own to Peter Reid here, which is very surprising to see that he's actually picked up that much pace in the past round. But good on him. So very well done, as well as Jessen as well. He's doing it, holding his own as well, quite well. So 2, I wouldn't say slow, but more or less not as front-running drivers up the front actually holding their own. That's actually quite good to see. So as Bugler just given Peter Reid a bit of a tap trying to launch it up the inside, that probably was never going to work, but anyway, they continue on. They've lost a little bit of time to Dunsford and Jessen here, but that doesn't look like it's too bad. Reid should have pace on Bugler having a look at up the inside there, but he thought better of it. Into the second to last corner as they come through the final corner. Who's got the better run here? Oh, Reid with a bit of sideways action, using a bit of that right foot to hit much. But a thunderfoot going on. So down on the bottom of the screen. So Daniel Kinsman's just done the quickest lap with a 23. No, it's been Aaron Wilson with a 23.368. So Dunsford appears to be a little bit slower than Jessen here. Peter Reid with a bit of a lock up there, trying to make sure he doesn't run into the back of Dunsford. Getting a bit sideways as well. He's really chucking it around. Trying to hold off Bugler and catch Dunsford and Jessen as well. The gap literally not very big as well. On Dunsford's run wide, and that's allowed Reid to get through. Is Bugler going to have a look up the inside here at the hairpin? Yes, he does. Oh, there's contact. And Bugler's gone around, and that's just totally screwed himself over. So Reid's now up into second position. Dunsford back to third. I believe that's Kinsman not far behind. Yes, it is behind Bugler. So still very close at the front of the field for the final 2 spots on the podium. And it's just scrolling through my other screen to see what's going on. Dunsford having a look up the inside there at the third to final corner. Probably wasn't going to get it done. Oh, braking very late. He's managed to hold on to it and just get it stopped in time. That probably was a bit late on the pedal, but and he's got a bit wide. Oh, and there's contact. Dunsford's gone around on the final corner just from getting a little bit too much curb, and that sent him to the back of the field just about. He's currently sitting in 10th. He's just about lost it on the grass as well, and Christensen goes past, so he'll drop to 11th now. As Bramley just about hitting the outside wall, coming through turn 2. Sorry. That was extremely close to the wall. Just cycling through, so battle going on for 5th, 6th and 7th position at the moment between Oakes, Wilds and Wilson. Wilson's probably got the better pace out of the lot. Oh, and he's chucked it up the inside of Wilds, and he's actually made it stick. So that was actually a fairly aggressive move, but he's managed to get it done, so props to him. So his next target will be Taylor Oakes, and he's not too far behind. Is going to have a look at what's going up further through the field. So it looks like Jessen's pulled away. Peter Reid has fallen back a 3-second gap. Daniel Bugler is now in a bit of a heated battle with Daniel Kinsman, the first of the 2 Kinsman brothers running tonight, as Matthew is currently in a battle for 13th with Tony Dance, and just ahead of him is Rob Derrick. So a battle for 12th going on there. As not sure what was going on there. Possibly a bit of late braking going on further up the field where Taylor Oakes was. Oh, that's actually a big lock-up. So a massive lock-up from Peter Reid, actually, as I'm looking on my other monitor here. So that was a massive lock-up from Peter Reid into turn 1. Have to be careful with your tyres here, as they can overheat quite quickly if you're not careful about it. Smart about it, as Kinsman's putting a move on Bugler here. Side by side, giving each other a few taps. But Bugler's managed to hold his own and get the job done. Kinsman's given him a bit of a tap. Oh, it's going to be close here for the final spot on the podium between Bugler and Kinsman. Who's got to... Oh, and Peter Reid's actually made a mistake, so he may have outbroken himself there. Just have a look. No, he's actually... Yes, well, he sort of has, but he hasn't. But he's kind of got a little bit... the car's just become unstable on him and caused him to pretty much lose a bit of time and had to get a bit of car control going. So he's lost a little bit of time there. He's now back to... He hasn't lost too much time out of that to Jessen. So Brad Jessen's still leading after 6 laps, as everybody's using quite a bit of exit curb and using a bit of right foot to get it sideways so they don't actually hit the wall. So battle. So Bugler's now caught catching back up to Peter Reid. And a battle just behind them between Aaron Wilson and Taylor Oakes. Not 100% sure if Oakes is holding up at Wilson. He may possibly be. So we'll just quickly have a look at this battle. that is actually quite exciting. Even now, Bramley, Priest, and I believe that was Jason Wilds, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. It's going on. Well, Oaks has got it real sideways there, so that's cost him on the exit. But he has actually managed to get it done and keep ahead. So he hasn't lost too much time. The battle for the final spots on the podium still going on between Reid, Kinsman and Bugler. Bugler still holding his own and not too far off Reid now, as they're just ahead in the distance. So the battle behind them between Priest, Wilds and Bramley is fairly heating up now, as we're starting to get near the pit window. So near the halfway point of this race, so we'll probably start to see people pit. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, and there's a bit of contact on. Bramley's gone off. Oh, Bramley's gone off in the background. What's happened there? So Bramley's gone off. We'll actually jump to a replay real quick and actually have a look at what's actually happened there. So we'll go on board. So he's gone up the inside to follow Craig Priest. He's just outbroken himself simply. So that's not ideal for him in that situation. So he's lost about... Yeah, I don't think he's actually lost any positions there. No, he hasn't. So he's gained 2 and then immediately lost 2 from just slightly outbreaking himself. So on Jason Wilds with a bit of a sideways exit. That's allowed Bramley to go straight through and get up into 8th. Yes, 8th position. So Jason Wilds now down into 9th position. So Bramley and Priest, the two Nissan Castrol the Castrol Nissans, will be on the charge to try and Bramley's outbroken himself there in the final, second to last corner as well. And Don Priest has outbroken himself and gone wide at the final corner. So tyre wear may be starting to coming into effect here, and starting to cause some issues for people as Wilds puts it up the inside, and he's not quite got the move done. Good effort though. So Priest looking like as Wilson's made it move up the inside of Wilds and Oaks, and he's made it stick. So now Wilson up into 5th. So Wilson now in the top 5. The battle at the front by the looks of it is still going on. Jessen is catching lap traffic of Andrew Jones by the looks of it, as Bugler is all over that Kinsman is all over Bugler. It's gonna be a close one. They're side by side, they're trading pain and trading positions. They're doing over and unders, crossovers and everything you can think of. It's literally nothing between the two of them. Let's quickly jump to the battle as it is actually very close. Peter Reid with just locking that inside up a little bit again. He has done that a few times in this race so far, and we're about to start lap 9. Well, about to complete 9 laps, sorry. So Peter Reid comes into pit lane as Kinsman, runs a little bit wide, and that's allowed Bugler to go through. So Peter Reid is in pit lane. He is the first man to, as they say, blink and take the opportunity to pit. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out for him and whether he actually gains any time out of it or not. So Kinsman was apparently 9 tenths quicker than that last lap. He was a second, 1.1 seconds prior to that. So Bugler may well be holding up Kinsman here, although it's hard to say as it's been a very close race and they haven't lost too much time to Peter Reid, even though they've been battling very hard. Whereas Kinsman gets very loose there, coming through the chicane at the back end of the circuit. Battle for the final top 5 position, 5th position between Oaks, Priest and Bramley, getting fairly close now. Who's going to be the next one to pit? I believe Jessen is probably going to pit this lap. I would presume so, although there have been some interesting strategies so far this season. No, he stayed out actually, so that's very interesting. So Jessen stretching along to try and have as good as possible tyres at the end of the race. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for Bugler and Kinsman and Wilson and everybody else who is yet to pit. So, from what I can gather, Peter Reid is the only one to pit. Rob Derrick is now in pit lane, so is Taylor Oakes. Trevor Christensen just entering pit lane as well, just ahead of Rob Derrick. So, we've now got Matthew Kinsman is blazing headlights and everything, trying to find a way past Andrew Jones, who is currently a lap down. So, blue flags are enforced as he's gotten by fairly well and nice and cleanly, no contact at all. So this is going to be interesting to see who comes out where with the strategy and how well tyres actually, how much advantage new tyres gain. It should be a decent amount here, although we'll have to see, as Brad Chesson is going to go around another lap, so he's really stretching those tyres. I would say they're probably a bit second-hand now. You may want to start pitting at this point. So Craig Priest and Chris Bramley and Jason Wilds all coming into pit lane now. And Bugler's actually managed to pull away from Kinsman here, and Wilson's now closing in on Kinsman. So possibly Kinsman has used the tyres up a bit too early here. So this is going to be interesting to see who starts, when these front guys start to pit. As you've got a number of guys who have already pitted, and a number of guys who are yet to pit. So Matthew Kinsman now in pit lane as well. And Craig Priest and Chris Bramley are just leaving pit lane. Jason Wild's leaving his pit box now. Matthew Kinsman pulling into his box. Andrew Jones and Tony Dance both coming into pit lane as well to make their compulsory pit stop. Sean Petrie as well making his compulsory pit stop now. As everybody else starts, as Darren Owen comes into pit lane as well. So compulsory pit stops are everybody now starting to file in the pit lane to get some new tyres on and get some fuel and make it to the end. So and Bugler runs wide through at the final corner, and he's actually decided to come into pit lane as well. And Brad Jesson is also in pit lane, so Daniel Kinsman has opted to stay out, while Brad Jesson, Daniel Bugler and Aaron Wilson have all decided to come into pit lane. So this is going to be interesting, as pit lane is a very long and slow time, with only a 40k an hour speed limit. But so Jesson is dropped and he's gone, Bugler's gone, and Wilson is going to be going shortly. Dunsford's coming to pit lane as well. So is there double stacking going on here? Oh, there is too. Oh no. So Dunsford's had to double stack in pit lane with Aaron Wilson, so that's going to cost him a bit of time. So currently Daniel Kinsman is leading. He's yet to pit. Peter Reid back in the second position. Actually, he's actually jumped both Jesson and Bugler and also Kinsman. So interesting to note that. So possibly new tyres have actually helped him here, rather than staying out longer like Jesson and the rest of the front runners. I would presume Daniel Kinsman is going to be pitting this lap. Yes, he's coming into the pit lane now as he just hits the speed limiter line. Is anybody else in pit lane? Not by the looks of it. Majority of people have pitted now, so this is going to be interesting to see whether Peter Reid is going to beat Kinsman out of the pit lane. Well, Kinsman's going to beat Reid out of pit lane here. I don't think he is, as Reid's coming through the final corner now. Kinsman still on the jacks. Nope, there he goes. So Kinsman's lost one position out of that. Has he gained any though? Has he gained one? No, Jesson goes by and Priest goes by. So Bugler's actually lost out of that, as Kinsman just comes out of pit lane now. So Kinsman now down to 5th. Brad Jesson second. Craig Priest has actually gained a lot out of that and is now in 3rd. Chris Bramley in... No, Bugler in 4th. Chris Bramley 5th. Kinsman's fallen back to 6th, actually. So, pit stop cycles have now definitely reshuffled the order a bit, as a number of guys have changed and exchanged positions, with the likes of Reed, Jesson, Priest, Bramley, Oakes, and Chris Dunsford, So Dunsford definitely getting affected by that double stacking issue with Aaron Wilson. So that's definitely not gone too well for him, as Wilson is looking to possibly make a move on Kinsman here. He's looking very racy. Kinsman with a... what's he going to do this lap? As Wilson's all over him here, it's going to be very... oh, and Wilson getting a bit wide on the grass. Just holds onto it. So Kinsman with a 31.6, I think it was. Yes, it was, while Wilson did a 23.2. There's Jason Wilds looking to make a move. There's no gap there. Props for trying, though, but it probably was never going to happen, to be honest. As Wilson now, as Wilds is now coming into the picture, so we've got about a 4-car. If they close up on Wilds getting a bit sideways there through the chicane. So we may well have a 3-car battle for 6th position here if Wilson can catch up to... oh, and there's been... what's happened here? Oh, I think there's been a bit of contact between Oakes and Kinsman here. We'll quickly jump... well, there... no, we won't actually. I'll have a look on my second screen and fill you in. So Kinsman's just simply made a bit... given Oakes a bit of a tap, and that's just unsettled him and gone around. Oh, and there's contact further back between Wilson, Wilds and Kinsman. So not quite sure how that's happened. Wilds looking like he's the one to blame with the fact that he's readdressed Kinsman. So we'll have a look at actually what's happened here. So Wilds is just thrown up the inside, touched, and there's, yeah, that's kind of not gone too well. They've all tried to make a move at the same time, and yeah, Wilds has tried to make a move. Kinsman's turned Wilson by the looks of it. And yeah, that's not gone too particularly well for everyone. All readdressing, so all is good for those guys. No need to have any penalties applied after the race. As we'll just see if we can find a battle further back here. Everybody looking like they're pretty spread out. Darren Owen on a battle. No, he's not actually. He's about to get lapped by Craig Priest, with Brad Jesson not too far ahead. So Peter Reid with the lead at the moment. There's about 4 laps to go till the checkered flag for him. So Brad Jesson is not too far behind. He's looking very racy at the moment. He's actually done fairly well to be quite competitive in this race. Oh, there's big size and a bit of contact in the background there just before between Priest and Owen, as Darren should have really just given way there, being the lapped car. Priest getting a little bit more sideways. Oh, and Darren, what are you doing? Trying to get by, but it's not worked too well in any shape or form at all. So now Bugler's the next one on, gonna be the next one to lap Owen here. Is he gonna get by, or is Darren gonna make it difficult like he did to Priest? He'll be definitely getting blue flags here. Bugler looking. Oh, what a big moment from Owen there. As Bugler's going to slip up the inside, and he's got the move done. So no, there's a bit of argy-bargy going on, but that's helped him. That's helped Bugler get ahead of Owen there. So Bramley, sorry, is up next. He's probably going to get by on the straightaway here into the braking zone of turn 1. He's in the draft. He's going to pop out and say hello and get by nice and well, using a bit of the grass as well and curb. And that's kind of worked, but not really, as he's going to get by up the inside here at turn number 3. Darren still, no, he hasn't got past it all. And Darren's gone straight ahead, a massive rear brake lock up there from Darren Owen, and that's pretty much gifted Bramley the ability to go straight by. So the field looking like it's starting to spread out a little bit. The battle pack between Peter Reid, so Jessen's actually caught Peter Reid by the looks of it. So Jessen very, very racy at the moment. Those new tyres, by the looks of it, are going to be definitely helping. Trevor Christensen is in the pits for some strange reason. Not sure if that's scheduled or not. No, it isn't. Oh no, I think I know what's happened. He's short-filled too. He hasn't put enough fuel in the car in the pit stop. Oh no. So Trevor Christensen having to make an extra stop, unfortunately, due to lackage of fuel. So this is probably going to screw the rhythm up of the leaders here, with him exiting pit lane where he did. How's Reid going to tackle this? Is he going to take risks and just send it up the inside, or is he going to be pretty good? No, Trevor's been pretty good about it and let him by. Jessen now behind Trevor. There we go. Trevor being very sportsmanship-like there. Very good on him. Good to see it. So the battle for first still going on. Jessen's trying. He's definitely trying. He's catching Reid in every way he can. He's seriously trying. There's not a lot in it. Jessen slightly slower those last 2 laps. But he's definitely catching Reid. So this is going to be interesting to see how this unfolds on the last lap. Jessen will definitely want this race win, having started from pole. He'll want to consolidate that pole position and definitely show he's not here to muck around, as Andrew Jones is coming back on track. That was awfully close. Awfully close. So as they come across the line now, it's going to be a white flag for Peter Reid and Brad Jessen. Into turn 1 they come. What's Jessen got left on the table here? Has he played all his cards, or has he got something left in the tank? Oh, and there's Jessen forcing this. Oh no, and he's turned him. That's going to cost him. Is he going to readdress? Peter Reid is actually not moving. Not sure what's happened there. He's run out of fuel. Peter Reid's run out of fuel on the final lap. Oh no. Peter Reid was conserving fuel and he's run out on the last lap going into turn 3. Oh my word. Of all things to happen, I never expected that. It must have been the reason he was going so slow. I did not actually see that coming. Not sure. Unbelievable scenes here on the final lap of just race 1 alone, as Jessen's going to go around the outside of Christensen here to lap him again. An unbelievable turn of events here for race number 1 of round 6 at Winton. Your race 1 winner will be Brad Jessen to take lights to flag victory here at Winton Raceway. In race number 1, it will be Daniel Bugler in second as he just pile drives into the rear of Jessen. Second will be Daniel Bugler. Third will be Chris Bramley. A very good effort to recover from outside the top 10 there. Fourth will go to Aaron Wilson. Fifth will go to Taylor Oakes. 6th, Daniel Kinsman. 7th, Jason Wilds. 8th, Luke Dunsford by the looks of it, as he comes through the final corner. Behind him in 9th, it'll be Rob Derrick, followed by Matthew Kinsman by a mere few tenths. Then Craig Priest, so not sure what's happened to Craig Priest there. I think he made a mistake. Or did he pit again? Not sure. He may have... No, he actually pitted very late, so that's quite interesting to see. Then you've got the rest of them, Nathan Addis, Tony Dance, and Peter Reid, and then the rest of your field. Peter Reid luckily actually managing to finish in 14th, even though he ran out of fuel, as he was one lap ahead of everyone. So Trevor Christensen, Sean Petrie, Darren Owen, and Andrew Jones in 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th respectively, all a lap down. So we'll come back shortly for race number 2, which will be a reverse grid of the finishing order of race 1. So stick around while we go to an air break and be ready for race number 2.
Best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Yeah, the double stacking thing, that was a bit of a fuck up. Service ready when you want to join a ramble.
I gained 4 seconds on Aaron.
Oh fuck, that was quick.
Here's 10 seconds instead of slowing down so much. I was slowed down so much. Deep braking was not go around a corner. He put it really good.
Yeah. Basically, fuel, I reckon you're right, I put fuel in it right and not put fuel in it, fucking off for a 6 second clip.
Did you ask him that, Cameron?
What was that?
Did you ask him about the fuel situation?
He's not. He must have gone to the toilet or something because he's not back yet.
Because it seems like we all reckon he's probably just fucking fueling from the start, filling the tank, and then not fueling during the race.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty naughty, really, ain't it?
I fucking set myself off at the end of the show.
Yeah.
I had to fucking use like the whole fence to get back in the plane. I'm like, fucking look at your brake up. I was like, oh fuck, this is a bit fun.
I was a bit
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Hurry up, get in the fucking car.
20 seconds, Dave.
Rightio, it is race 2 time for round number 6 of the Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League. Reverse grid of the finishing order of race number 1. Darren Owen on pole alongside Andrew Jones, followed by Sean Petrie and Trevor Christensen. 4 red lights. Lights are green and away we go. Is everybody scrambling? Oh, there's contact further back between Aaron Wilson, I think it was. Aaron Wilson, Brad Jessen and Daniel Bugler all involved. Oh, and there's more contact. Jones, Reed, Dance, Kinsman, Addis, and a number of other people involved. Just carnage on. Petrie's been involved on. Kinsman's been involved. And Dance is off. There's a number of cars involved. Cars just going everywhere. So apologies about that. A bit of a oopsie in the start there. So, anyway, retry number 2. 1. Take 2. Simply put. So, again, order still the same. Let's try again into turn 1. As lights go green and we are racing. Number of people trying to go 3 wide out of turn down the front straight. Peter Reid doing that. On Priest has been involved, or is that Bramley? Sorry. No, that was Priest involved. Getting touched by someone. Not sure who it was, but anyway, moving along. Oh, and Christensen's gone around. No, Wilds, sorry. Wilds has been turned around, not sure by whom. But it looks like everybody else has managed to get through fairly well. Kinsman with a bit of contact on Addis there. As we come through the back section of the track, it's pretty bunched up as we're just about 3 wide, and we are 3 wide. Side by side and everything. Jessen trying to get some moves done earlier on. Peter Reid's been, well, actually kind of hasn't, but a couple of people trying to get some moves earlier on. Done earlier on to try and get to the front of the field. Oh, contact between Kinsman and Petrie there. As we come through down towards the final few turns, it's bumper to bumper. But as we come down the front straight, it will be Darren Owen who leads the field from Peter Reid, and he's probably going to get a move done. No, he's not. Followed by then Nathan Addis. Matthew Kinsman, Rob Derrick, as Trevor Christensen puts a move on Andrew Jones, then Daniel Bugler, then Daniel Kinsman and Brad Jessen by the looks of it. Yep. And then we've got Luke Dunsford, Aaron Wilson, Tony Dance, Jason Wilds, Taylor Oakes, Chris Bramley, Craig Priest and Sean Petrie. So, bit argy-bargy in the first few laps with people trying to get moves done, but everybody seems to have settled down a little bit. So, as Bugler puts a move, he thinks about it, and then backs straight back out of it, and there might have been contact there, but not 100% sure. But anyway, moving back to the action. So, no, there wasn't contact by the looks of it. So, Christensen just flinching there a little bit from Bugler looking up the inside as they head through the final few turns, as Addis is looking like he's going to be is trying to put a move on Matthew Kinsman here. Bugler and Jessen, I think. No, Kinsman, Derek and Jessen all getting involved. What's Jessen going to do here as we go on board? He brakes early to back out of it. He's all over the rear end of Rob Derrick here as they come through into turn number 3. Jessen looking, but that probably was never going to work. As they come through the back section now. Peter Reid with a substantial lead over Darren Owen. Darren Owen's still sitting in second position. He hasn't fallen back too far. As Daniel Bugle puts a move up the inside of Nathan Addison. Jessen on a move, putting a move up the inside on Rob Derrick as well. I think... No, Rob's tried to hold it. They're still side by side. Nope, Jessen's got the move done by the looks of it. So Jessen moves up into P number 7. And Daniel Bugle's actually lost the position back. So Nathan Addis has kept 4th position there. And held his ground on Bugler's move. As Jessen looking to make a move on Daniel Kinsman there. Wasn't quite close enough, but he tried. There's a bit of a lock up there in the background, I believe, from Aaron Wilson. So the fastest lap so far from Aaron Wilson with a 1:23.752. So he holds the fastest lap of the race. Everybody's starting to spread out by the looks of it. Still a couple of people nose to tail. Bugle and Addis, one of them, as we go further back a little bit. And then it's Dunsford and Wilson. Wilson probably with the better pace over Dunsford, although Luke has definitely proved in the first race that he has some decent pace tonight. So this will be interesting as he puts the defence on. He's run wide because of it. That's allowed Wilson to go straight through. Yes, it has. So Wilson's managed to get by, and now he's going to be on the hunt to get past Derek, who he's actually managed to gain quite a bit under brakes there through the hairpin. So the battle's still going on at the front between Kinsman, and Addis. Jessen not too far behind by the looks of it. As the field comes through the final corner, it appears there was something going on between Oaks apparently. Not sure what's going on there. Having a look now. Oh, just Bramley just braking slightly too late and touching the rear end of Taylor Oaks. So that's cost Bramley a bit of time there. He's not doing too well in this race at the moment. Did start at the rear, but after what happened in race 1, anything can happen, and tyres do play a good part. So if he can look after his tyres, he may well be able to get up the field pretty well. As Wilson looking to make a move on Derek here. Derek running a little bit wide. Oh, Wilson's all over the rear end of him. He's right on board with Wilson here. He's managed to get the move done. He's going to go around there. Yes, he's got the move done. He's going to pretty much just slot in, and Dunsford is actually throwing it up the inside and actually not quite got the move done. He's almost got it done, but not quite there. So Peter Reid's still leading by quite a sizable margin of pretty much 6 seconds here. 6.5 now, as he's gone through sector 1. So he's gained half a second on Darren Owen from crossing the start-finish line to crossing the sector 1 beam. So quite a difference in pace between the two, as everybody is still fairly close together throughout the field. Have a look, we'll keep an eye on this battle at the front between Kinsman, and Addis has made contact, just run straight into the back of Matthew Kinsman. Daniel Kinsman right behind Daniel Bugler. Daniel and Matt being brothers, and there's a bit of, that's a bit close, there's a bit of argy-bargy. Daniel getting past Bugler, and he's trying to get past Addis here. Bit of rubbing, and Matthew Kinsman's going to look to try and make a move on Darren Owen here as they head down towards the third to last turn. Kinsman's run wide. Bugler's throwing it up the inside. There's bumper to bumper pushing around. As Bugler's right tucked in behind Addis here. Is he going to make a move? He's throwing it up the inside, and so is Kinsman. Oh, there's contact, and Jessen's been involved. He's had to run wide because of it to avoid any more carnage, and that's allowed Aaron Wilson to go through. So now Matt Kinsman all over the back end of his brother Daniel. Who's it going to be between these two? There's going to be no love lost here, that's for sure, with both of them having equal amount of karting titles, so this will be definitely one for bragging rights. Matthew's lost it in the background there as he's gone through turn 3 and just taken too much curb, so that's cost him about 2 positions, so he hasn't entirely lost it. So now Daniel move up into P number 5, Wilson into 6th, and Jessen into 7th. As Bugler's looking to make a move on what's going on here? There's just cars everywhere. What's going on there? Not entirely sure what's happened there. Just having a look now on Kinsman's. So by the looks of it, Bugler just basically tapped Owen, and from there everybody's just piling in and not actually knowing what's going on. So whoa, that was a bit of a... That was interesting, that moment. As they come through the final section, back end of the track, sorry. Get mixed up. Peter Reid still is pretty much pulled away and left the building effectively. He's got an 11-second gap to the car ahead, well, to the car behind, sorry, who is Daniel Bugler. So I would hazard a guess and say Reid's probably got this one in the bag. However, it's not over for the podium yet, as Kinsman, Wilson, Addis, Matthew Kinsman and Brad Jessen all not too far behind in the pack. Bit of a is Jessen, I believe, or is that, yes, Jessen trying to make a move on Matthew Kinsman here. We'll keep an eye on this little battle As Aaron Wilson's looking to make it on. Jessen's gone up the inside. He's got the move done. So that puts Jessen now up into 6th position. Matthew Kinsman. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. As Kinsman runs a little bit wide there. Jessen with a bit of a lock-up. As now Darren Owen is in a battle with Jason Miles and Craig Priest for 8th position. Darren probably will be holding up Jason here, I would say. But if he can hold his own... So Peter Reid is actually in pit lane on lap 8 here. He's about to start lap 9. So again, a fairly early pit stop from him as Priest goes right around the outside and pretty much puts it out in the somewhere else. Sends himself to basically nowhere land from braking just slightly too late. I thought he was actually going to get the move done there, but never mind. So it looks like apart from Peter Reid, Rob Derrick and Taylor Oakes have also come into pit lane. And that is it at the moment. Peter Reid is just leaving pit lane now. So... Oh, Bramley's in pit lane as well, so he's making his pit stop now to get it out of the way. Meanwhile, everybody else is still continuing on. So it's going to be interesting to see how strategy plays out in this race as well, especially with the fact that it's been a reverse grid. Most of the quick guys have got to the front already, although there's a number of guys who are still yet to make any progress. The likes of Bramley, Priest, and trying to see who. Brad Jessen, not doing too bad for themselves at the moment, but probably could be better as Matthew Kinsman is coming to pit lane. Darren Owen getting a bit sideways out of the corner there. The final turn in there, it's allowed Jason Miles to get through into 6th. No, actually 4th, sorry. As Darren just driving it sideways, using plenty of thunderfoot there. And going sideways again, just ragging the car around the course. So officially halfway in this race. So got a battle on here between Reid, Dance and Dunsford here. I would say Reid is probably going to make quick progress of these guys, as Christensen has come into pit lane to make his pit stop. I would say Wilson is coming as well. Nathan Addis is pitted as well. Trying to see who else has. Don't think anyone else has at this point. Everybody else is yet to pit. So Bugler, Kinsman, Daniel Kinsman that is, Brad Jessen, Jason Wilds, Darren Owen, Craig Priest, and Tony Dance are yet to pit. I think Luke Dunsford is as well. There's a bit of a lock up there from Peter Reid. Dunsford just getting a bit sideways, side by side for Dance, and Reid. Dance hazards a guess, and there's a bit of contact side by side as they go through the final corner. Plenty of room given on. Dance just gets a bit too much curb, and around she goes, just about. So in the background there, Dunsford was coming into pit lane. Priest is now in pit lane. Darren Owen's in pit lane. And Daniel Kinsman's in pit lane. Daniel Kinsman leaving pit lane now. So number of the top guys are pitting have just started to pit. So Bugler, Jessen and Wilds are yet to pit. Reid's probably going to come away from this win, be able to get by and pretty much leave the building once again and run away with it. Is Bugler going to pit this lap? That is the question. Bramley's just gone and done a 23.0, so that's the quickest lap of the race. Petrie comes in as well. Bugler, that's an interesting pit entry, but okay. As Bugler comes in, so does Jessen. Is Wild's going to come in, or is he going to stay out? No, he comes in as well. So the top three all coming into pit lane to make their scheduled pit stops. So where's Peter Reid going to come out in all of this? More or less, how far ahead is the real question. And who else is going to gain an advantage? So Peter Reid coming down the front stretch now. He's jumped all three of those guys. Where is Bugler, Wilds and Jessen going to come out in this? In relation to Wilson and Addis, it's going to be close for Bugler. As Bugler exits pit lane just behind Nathan Addis. So Wilson and Addis have gained in this as well. Kinsman's now coming right up behind Andrew Jones to lap him again. No, lap him for the first time, sorry. So Bugler's actually lost out of that. And so has Jessen and Kinsman. Kinsman making a minor mistake earlier on, but he's managed to recover well. As they come through the back section now, Jessen just pushing his way through to get past lap traffic. So the battle going on between the two mobile cars, in no way related via team, but same similar livery, and that the only difference is the number. But they're definitely charging through the field, as Darren Owen is still in pit lane, or is he pitted twice? I think he's pitted twice. No, he's still in pit lane. He hasn't left pit lane yet. Not sure what's gone on there. That's very bizarre. And Petrie's come back in, so... Oh, so Dunsford and Petrie have both come into pit lane because they've had to serve a drive-through. Or a stop-go. So Petrie's got a stop-go and Dunsford's got a drive-through. So they'll have to serve that shortly, or they will be penalised. Well, disqualified, more or less, is the answer. So most of the field is spread out, as Darren Owen has stopped on track again for some reason. Not entirely sure what's going on. So not entirely sure what's happened down there, but that's... So the battle on between Jessen and Wilds here for 7th. So this This is going to be interesting. I'd say Jessen's going to get by, bit of contact. Jessen's lost out on that one. He should have the pace to theoretically get by. So the battle's still going on for 7th position here, and there is also a battle going on for 5th between the two Kinsman boys. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It looks like Peter Reid has pretty much got this in the bag. He's got a 12-second gap, although he ran out of fuel in the last race. I'm pretty sure he's probably not going to make the same mistake in this race again, although you never know. Aaron Wilson, 12 seconds adrift in second, and it goes back to Daniel Bugle in third, who is 3 seconds back from Wilson, and then it goes back to Nathan Ayres, who is a second back. And you've got the Kinsman brothers battle, and then you go back to Jessen and Jason Wiles. Jessen's got past Wiles, so Jessen now up into 7th. It's looking like he's going to hold it, although not too sure. There's a number of cars behind. It's quite a large train actually. It's a 5-car train. As on screen at the moment is the Kinsman battle. The rivalry here will definitely be a very strong one between the two brothers, and bragging rights will definitely be up for grabs here between the two of them. As Daniel almost gets the drive out of the corner, but doesn't quite get the job done. Oh no, Bugler's cocked that up. They've gone around him, they've split him, so that's allowed Bugler to get monstered by the Kinsman brothers, and now Matthew and Daniel are both up into the top 5. Bugler now in 6th. Not exactly sure what's happened there. I think he's lost. Yeah, Bugler's just simply lost it up through the third to last corner. Now Bugler's all over the rear end of Daniel here. He'll be giving him a good hurry up. Daniel will definitely be wanting to beat Matthew here, as it's also on. Matthew's run wide on. Kinsman's run wide on. Bugler's just gone straight through, and that's allowed Bugler to take the positions back. So the waiting he had to do was very short-lived. As they come through the back section of the track, can Daniel get... Oh, he's right behind. He's right behind his brother now. Is he going to get the job done? It's fairly close. This battle is still going. There's not a lot on it, as Daniel was definitely trying. Matt seems to be slightly quicker. But not... Oh, Daniel's really got it, done it wrong now. He's run wide and he's pretty much just driven straight around. He hasn't gained anything out of it though, so probably not the best idea. But he hasn't gained anything out of it, so he has actually readdressed that. As trying to find a battle going on here apart from this current one between the Kinsman brothers. Battle going on for 11th, 10th by the looks of it between Rob Derrick and Taylor Oakes. Battle going on for 7th between Wilds and Jessen, although Jessen's probably got the better pace. Doesn't look like the top 3 are going to change at this point on this final lap. Daniel's definitely going to be having a go here, that considering it is the final lap. I would say Jason Wilds is also going to want to get past Jessen here, although Jessen's probably got the better pace. But not 100% sure as Matt Kinsman goes defensive to hold off Daniel here. They're side by side. Matt's got the better run, and he's got the better line as well. As they come through the final few corners, Daniel's all over him. Matt's going to go defensive now as they come into the third to final corner. The third to last corner, Peter Reid has taken out the race by the looks of it, by quite a margin as well, 9.3 seconds. As Daniel's going to look around the outside through the second last corner. Is he overdone? He's done him around the outside on the last lap. What a move! What a move! Oh, there's been contact from Matthew Kinsman and Daniel. The two brothers taking each other out effectively. So that's going to now allow Jessen, no, not quite. So Matthew Kinsman has not readdressed, so that's probably going to be a penalty. He's probably going to be finishing behind Daniel there. But anyway, so that is race number 2. Peter Reid taking it out, followed by Aaron Wilson, Nathan Addis, Daniel Bugler, Matthew Kinsman, Brad Jessen, Jason Wilds, Craig Priest, Daniel Kinsman, Rob Derrick, Taylor Oakes, Chris Bramley, and then Trevor Christensen. Then it's down to Tony Dance, Luke Dunsford, Andrew Jones, Sean Petrie and Darren Owen, who round out the rest of the field. So we'll be back shortly for race number 3.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Rightio, it is time for race number 3, the final race of the night, here at round number 6. Well, at Winton for round number 6. Sean Petrie and Luke Dunsford on the front row. Reverse grid of race number 2's finishing results. Lights are on. We are green, green, green. Darren Owen's got a bit of a bad start there by the looks of it. We're going to go 3 wide in multiple parts of the circuit, and Nathan Ash trying to make some moves. We're going to go 3 wide, possibly 4 wide. Darren Owen is involved, and Chris Bramley and Bugler and Kinsman have all had to take evasive action. This is carnage. Carnage going on everywhere, people bouncing off each other. It's a bit of a pushing and barging around on the first lap. So, looks like everybody's now sorted themselves out by the looks of it. Bugler looking to make a bit of a tap there from Brad Jesson on Rob Derrick. As everybody's now sorting themselves out, trying to get up the field. Brad Jesson just using that front bumper, and now by the looks, and Peter Reid by the looks of it, Rob Derrick with a very late manoeuvre up the inside of Jesson, and he's managed to hold on to it. Back in the background there, it looked like Nathan Addis and Peter Reid came together. Peter's obviously readdressed as Jesson's forcing the issue on Rob. It's side by side as they come through the final corner. And he's scrapping for the minors, but they're on for it like it's the lead of the race. So, order of after lap winners: Luke Dunsford, Sean Petrie, Tony Dance, Trevor Christensen, Brad Jesson, Rob Derrick, Matthew Kinsman, Nathan Addis, Peter Reid, Aaron Wilson, Craig Priest, Daniel Kinsman, Taylor Oakes, Jason Wilds, Darren Owen, Chris Bramley, and Bramley's in pit lane. And so is Bugler. That's not gone particularly well. I'd say they both jumped the start there. That hasn't gone too well for those two, I'd say. So back to the action up the front, and Kinsman's putting a move on Derrick here. Hasn't quite worked out too well. So Derrick keeps the position, and that is for P number 6. As Jesson's barging his way through to a top 5 position. He's currently got Tony Dance in his sights. That may have been contact, and there's more contact further back between Rob Derrick and Matthew Kinsman, as Kinsman just mounts, as there's just more carnage going on. As Kinsman's entering pit lane by the looks of it, and so is Wilson. I'm not sure whether that's scheduled or not, but anyway. So Sean, a bit of contact there from Rob Derrick and Sean Petrie, as now Peter Reid is looking to make a move, as well as Matthew Kinsman, on Sean Petrie. Kinsman's, there's a bit of contact between Matthew Kinsman and Nathan Addis. Trevor Christensen with there's nose to tail pushing each other around. It's there's carnage, Sean. There's multiple cars involved. So multiple think all sorts going on at the moment. So just all sorts going on at the moment. Throughout the field at the moment, just cars going everywhere and all sorts. So, bit interesting as to who's where. It's a bit mixed at the moment. As we have a look as to where there's a battle pack. We'll probably have a look at the battle pack near the middle of the pack at the moment, involving Tony Dance, Jason Wilds, Craig Priest and Nathan Addis. As Craig Priest looks to try and make a move here. So it's going to be interesting. This is for just inside the top 10 by the looks of it, for 8th, 9th and 7th by the looks of it, as Jason Wilds looking to make a move there, as Aaron Wilson comes out of pit lane. So this is going to be interesting as to not sure if Wilson is pitted to complete his 2 compulsory pit stops or not. But if he has, then my oh my, he better be careful on those tyres, or he's going to be eating up for breakfast later in the race. So, going to be interesting as Jason Wilds puts a move on Aaron Wilson there to get by, as Wilson is currently a lap down. Yes, he is. From making those 2 pit stops, scheduled or not scheduled, he's kind of not really too much of a risk at the moment for people, as Jason Wilds just slotting in ahead again. Wilson will be on slightly newer tyres, but not by much. So it's gonna be interesting. Wilson trying to force the issue at the moment on Wilds. Really not the thing to be doing, to be honest, but that's up to him at the moment. So currently, I think Tony Dance actually on. He has, well, it's actually been. I think there was contact with the wall there between Tony Dance and Jason Wilds there. Not sure. I'll have a look. I have a monitor here. No, there wasn't. Jason actually did hit the wall though. That was very close to wiping out the rest of the field. That tyre wall does bite you if you do hit it wrong, as Tony Dance just slots in ahead of Aaron Wilson, and Craig Priest looking to go around the outside of him as well. He had a look there, but not quite. Oh, Wilson just getting quite sideways there, as Nathan Addis just grass tricking there through the third to last corner. Not exactly the correct line or the most ideal line either, but anyway. Luke Dunsford currently giving you a bit of an update on the front. Luke Dunsford still currently leads the field by 7 seconds over Brad Jessen. Then Rob Derrick is about 5 seconds adrift. Four seconds adrift, sorry. And then it goes back to Peter Reid, who is then 5 seconds adrift of Rob. And then it goes back to Trevor Christensen, who is 2 seconds behind Peter Reid. And then you've got this battle pack between Christensen, Kinsman, Dance, Priest, and the lapped car of Wilson. He's not really involved, but he's making it difficult, to put it simple. As Tony Dance just getting shuffled back a little bit from Priest, and Priest has gone wide. Oh, this could end in tears. No, it doesn't. Luckily, he manages to gather it back together and keep it straight. So Craig Priest now down into 8th from that little mistake there. So this is going to be interesting to see how the 2-stop strategy works out, as it is a 2 compulsory, as these guys are going to have to make 2 compulsory pit stops in this race, whether it's done on lap 1 or the very last laps. Although you're doing that sort of strategy is probably not going to help you in the long run, as you're probably going to have very bad tyres at the end, or when you pit. Well, if you pit in the last few laps, you're probably going to have really bad tyres up to that point, and if you pit on lap 1, you're probably going to be shooting yourself in the foot effectively. As Christensen and Addis coming together a little bit, that's allowed Priest to catch up, but Christensen will hold on and Addis will move up the order, as they're all just slightly sliding through that chicane. Not the easiest corner to get right, and it is a bit bumpy, so it does unsettle the car a bit. Not too great for the tyres though, they'll probably be screeching a bit, so just managing your tyres is probably the key to this track, as there are I think Matthew Kinsman has come to the pits, because he's currently sitting in 16th at the moment. Yes, he's just pitted, so he's made his first pit stop by the looks of it. Chris Bramley, your current championship leader, as Trevor Christensen dives in the pit lane there in the background, as well as Darren Owen. So, number of guys currently a bit out of place. Darren Owen, Trevor Christensen and Peter Reid all in pit lane at the moment. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the end with the strategy, as to whether you go long and then short, or short then long, or even it out. As just trying to find where there's a battle pack. A couple of bent cars at the moment, due to the number of incidents. Darren Owen just leaving pit lane now, so not many guys have bothered to pit yet, as Brad Jessen comes into pit lane. Probably start seeing a number of guys pit now, due to the fact that it's pretty much around about where you want to be pitting if you want to even it out. As Kinsman comes into pit lane to do his second pit stop. Nathan Addis diving into pit lane as well to make his first pit stop. So that will mean Bramley, Dance and Wilson will go through. Wilson may actually become a factor in this, although it will be interesting to see how it goes with his tyres. His tyres have been quite a fascinating point in tonight's racing, being that the better your tyres are, the better you're off you're going to be with this technical circuit. So the field looking like it's spread out a bit due to the pit stop shuffling. Currently a battle going on for 6th and 7th between Bugler and Jessen. Currently looks like Jessen's probably got the upper edge. Jessen's just pitted as well, so he'll probably have fresher tyres. Bugler's still yet to pit, so it'll be interesting to see how this works for him, pitting later. If he's got the pace, it should theoretically help him, but we'll have to see. There's still plenty of racing to go. And it looks like Jason Wiles is in pit lane now, as well as Rob Derrick, and I believe that was Tony Dance, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was, also in pit lane. As Bugler's now all over the tail of Luke Dunsford, so I think, yes, Luke's just come out of he's just come out of pit lane and has made his first stop. So pit stops are now starting to happen to get the first ones out of the way. As to when the second ones will happen will be interesting to know. I'd hazard a guess if they're going by anything that's going on at the moment. I'd say they'd probably do it around lap 20, if not. Probably a little bit earlier or lap or so later, because having 5 laps worth is, unless you know you've got pace, is probably not worth the ordeal of stretching your tyres and fuel for so long. As Dunsford's looking quite racy here. Bugler peels into pit lane, so he'll drop to, I would say, just inside the top 10, but he won't be far off from being outside of it. Oh, and Dunsford's hit the wall and gone around as well, so that wall catching out a number of cars in this race as well. So that's quite interesting how everybody's just starting to find the limit of that wall. Does bite that wall, as we've seen a couple of times now with guys pushing the limits of the track. So that's now shuffled Luke down to 4th. Peter Reid will move up into 3rd. I think Peter is yet to make a pit stop, so he's stretching it long. Jessen has made his first pit stop, and Craig is yet to make his first pit stop. So Craig, Priest, Peter Reid, I believe, no, Rob Derrick's made his, Nathan Addis has made his, Daniel Kinsman's yet to make his first pit stop. No, he may have made it, but I'm not sure if that was drive-through or not, as it was on lap 2. Taylor Oakes is yet to make his first pit stop. And I think that's about it in terms of people who are yet to make pit stops. As Craig Priest has come into pit lane, that's going to shuffle him down the order a bit. So Craig Priest has just exited pit lane now, as in 7th, so he's just inside the top 10. Daniel Bugler, when he exited pit lane, is now 13th, so he lost out quite a bit there. So the difference in lap time between Reid and Jessen, by the looks of it, looking at this fight between the front runners, is... Oh, Reid just actually lost it there. Slight commentator's curse, but maybe. So Reid's last 2 laps are actually very consistent, being 23.7, literally 200ths different, while Jessen's done at 24.0 and a 24.7. So Peter Reid, even though he's got older tyres, is much quicker, even though he's throwing the car around. So possibly Reid could win this if he keeps this pace up, as there is apparently a battle going on for the final top 5 position between Rob Derrick, Matthew Kinsman and Daniel Kinsman. So we'll keep an eye on this as Nathan Addis looks up the inside of Rob Derrick. didn't quite get the move done, as I'm struggling to put words out. So Nathan looking like he's, as Bugler's done a 22.9, the fastest lap of the race. That's extremely quick actually for a race pace. As Nathan's just centered up the inside, forcing the issue on Rob Derrick, and that's allowed Matthew Kinsman to get through. Daniel Kinsman, is now all over the rear end of, not quite, he was just before, all over the rear end of Nathan Addis, as Addis is going to go up the inside of Kinsman here. It's possibly going to work. Has he got the run? No, Kinsman's got the run out of the corner, so Kinsman will go up into 5th position, while Addis will fall back into... No, yes, he has. This is slightly confusing. Oh no, Matthew Kinsman's a lap down, sorry. So, a bit confusing here as to what's going on with the pit stop cycles. With Kinsman making his pit stop early and being a lap down, as well as Aaron Wilson, that means that Nathan Addis is theoretically fighting with Daniel Kinsman and Craig Priest and Rob Derrick at the moment. Rob Derrick looking like he's got a bit of a gap now, as Daniel Kinsman just trying to force the issue up the inside of the hairpin. A number of these guys, that's a bit of a touch. Not too big of an issue, but just enough. Kinsman's lost it there in the background, so that's allowed Priest to go through and take 6th position, as we are pretty much beyond halfway, as there's a bit of smoke for some bizarre reason. Not sure what was going on there or why that was. Oh, it's because Sean Petrie looped it on the front straight. So Sean Petrie just taking a bit too much curb on the exit and putting it pretty much in the grass and setting himself around. So Craig Priest looking very quick here. He's done a 1 minute 24.137, while Nathan Addis has done a 24.780 in the last lap. So Craig Priest looking fairly quick, as we'll go on board with him here and have a look at and see what the difference is in terms of pace and line, as Matthew Kinsman gets fairly sideways there. So it looks like a number of pit stops are taking place as well by the looks of it. So that's Taylor Oakes, Daniel Kinsman, and as Kinsman, Oakes were actually having a race out of pit lane, Oakes managing to jump him. Darren Owen comes into pit lane as well. He's currently still in pit lane and he's left his box now. So the battle for 6th position is still currently on between Addis, as Priest suddenly pops out from behind Addis and has a look, but thinks better off it just to let Nathan know, hello, I'm here. Oh, Rob Derrick getting a bit loose there on the exit of the final corner. As Peter Reid is also now in pit lane to make his 2nd stop. Priest all over the rear end of Nathan Addis here. Nathan possibly getting held up by Rob Derrick here, but not 100% sure. As Kinsman goes off and just about puts Nathan Addis in the fence in the process from coming back on, but that's now allowed Priest to catch back up and Rob Derrick to pull away a little bit. So a lap car between Addis and Derrick. So Craig Priest is trying his best to try and get everything he can out of this car. There's been contact between Priest and Addis. So Craig slightly being slightly optimistic in that move, and it's just resulted in contact. Chris Bramley is leaving pit lane now after making his second stop, so we'll probably start seeing his flurry of pit stops as Brad Jessen comes into the pit lane for his second stop. And now Craig Priest and I believe that was Nathan Harris. No, Craig Priest has just come into pit lane. So as there is a bit of a race between Rob Derrick as they're just touching wheels. Rob Derrick goes up the inside of Matthew Kinsman and he's broken himself and run a little bit wide there. Nathan Harris is going to capitalise on this, is he not? He's going to send it up the inside. No, Rob manages to just get enough of a run out of the corner. He's trying to find an on-board camera here, and Nathan Addis using the throw it in and hold on tactic through turn number 4. So Rob looking like he's got a little bit more pace through some of these more flowing bits. Nathan with is quite good under brakes by the looks of it, as I can see Trevor Christensen in pit lane as well. And Craig Priest has just left pit lane as well as Trevor Christensen now. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. As Rob Derrick is holding off Nathan Addis quite well. Looks like Nathan, Rob and Jason Miles will all be coming in this lap as I'm looking over my screens here. Yes, they are. So this is going to be interesting to see who comes out where in the order. So this is going to be interesting. Who's going to come out where? Luke Dunsford jumps Nathan and Rob. Jason Wilds. Rob jumps Nathan by about 2 seconds, possibly 3. So Rob has a bit of a buffer here. Where is Luke Dunsford in this? Luke Dunsford sits P5, so he's actually managed to jump both of them actually. So Nathan, that was a bit of an interesting pit stop by Nathan. That's cost him a little bit of time, but not too bad, as Priest is now all over the rear end of Rob Derrick. It's about a 4-car train. This is going to get really interesting in a few laps, I reckon. Especially with the fact that Taylor and... is that Jessen or Daniel Kinsman? I think it's Daniel Kinsman. So Nathan Addis has actually lost out quite severely in that pit stop cycle from having to avoid Luke Dunsford, in the pit box. So Craig Priest looking to make a move around the outside. No, that's not going to work. Rob Derrick's slightly outbroken himself in anticipation of Craig launching it up the inside, but he's managed to hold on to that position. Is Craig going to look up the inside? Yes, he is. Is the move going to get done? Almost. He almost gets it done. Not quite. As Tony Dance is now in pit lane. Daniel Kinsman in pit lane. So this is going to be interesting as Matthew Kinsman and Tony Dance exit pit lane. That's quite bad timing. Oh, there's been contact. Rob Derrick and Matthew Kinsman making contact with each other. Rob happily is going to have to readdress that, and that's cost him dearly. Matthew Kinsman being a lap down still, I believe. Yes, he is a lap down. So kind of a bit of a blue flag scenario, but it happens sometimes. So I'll continue on with the racing. So looking at this battle for the final top 5 position, it's on. Daniel Kinsman's went around as well, and that's allowed Addis and Taylor Oakes to go through. Oh, and he's left again. Those curbs catching out a number of guys tonight with how much grip they've got. So, not Daniel will probably be spewing himself over that and, well, kicking himself more or less. So, Craig Priest is now in 5th. He's got a bit of a margin over Taylor Oakes and Nathan Addis. We'll concentrate on this battle for a bit because it's looking like it's going to be fairly close at the moment. Daniel Bugler's in pit lane. Not sure why. Oh, he's driven straight through pit lane, so he's got a drive-through from speeding in pit lane. Disaster. And not ideal at all. So that's dropped him down to 10th position. Rob Derrick is not too far ahead, I would say, and Tony Dance has also gone off in front of Matthew Kinsman. Rob Derrick having to take evasive action. That's not ended too well. There's been contact from that between those lot. So Taylor Oakes looking like he's got a little bit more pace than Nathan Addis here. Currently Brad Jesson leading Peter Reid by 5 seconds up the front. Not sure if Peter's going to be able to have him, but if he does, it'll be fairly close to near the finish. Most of the field looking like it's spread out at the moment. With a couple of battles going on at the moment, as I'm just looking through on my other monitor here. Let's see if I can to see what's going on. As Sean Petrie comes in a pit lane, on a side note. Nathan Addis all over the rear end of Taylor Oakes here. So we focus on what's going on screen. Oh, Nathan's trying. We're on board. We're going to go on board to look back at Nathan Addis from Taylor Oakes' car. What's going to happen here? Is Nathan going to go for a move? He's all over him. Almost hit it. Or Oakes has run a little bit wide here. Is Nathan going to be able to pounce on this opportunity? Not quite. It's not quite got enough pace there. Nathan doing a 1 minute 24.707 in that last lap, while Taylor Oakes has done a 1 minute 24.850. So Nathan is theoretically a little bit quicker as he almost gives Taylor a little bit of a tap there. So it's fairly interesting as to how this is going to play out. Looks like Peter Reid is catching Brad Jesson by the looks of it. It's going to be fairly close as to how close it gets at the end, or how close it is at the end, but should be good, or should be a close finish hopefully. Brad just needs to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes. Meanwhile, the battle on screen is still going on between Nathan Addis and Taylor Oakes. There's not a lot in it. Nathan is wanting that position. He's literally all over the rear end of Taylor Oakes now. Taylor looking like he's got slightly better drive through, well, slightly better drive out of some of these corners and somewhat reasonable pace through some parts of the circuit. It's not too much of a difference in terms of who's quicker and who's slower, so it's fairly close. Is Nathan gonna look? No, he's not. He's gonna sit in behind. As Taylor Oakes runs wide, and that's opened the door. Nathan's gonna slip past and say, "Thank you very much. I'll take that position." Oh, but Taylor's coming back. What's he gonna do at turn 1 here? Is he tucked in behind? Pulls out. Not quite. That hasn't quite worked out for Taylor. Slightly, not quite late enough on the brakes. As he's going to go for a crossover here at turn 3. This side by side. Nope. Taylor's trying everything to get past, but Nathan's got pace, and he's definitely going to be trying his best, that's for sure. As Brad Jesson is going to come across the line this time to start the final lap of the race. Don't think Peter Reid is going to make it unless Brad does something miraculously strange, as Brad's been driving fairly well in this race so far. Peter Reid's got pace, but it's probably not going to be enough, as the battle for fifth still raging on between Taylor Oakes and Nathan Addis. I'd say Taylor's probably not going to get him in the end in this last lap, although he's definitely going to be trying, knowing it'll be the last lap. Let's come out of the final corner to start the final lap now. Who is going to get the final top 5 position? Is it going to be Taylor Oakes or is it going to be Nathan Addis? If I were anyone, I would probably put my bets on Nathan Addis with the way he's been driving. Well, with the pace he's had anyway. So, it's looking like it's going to be Nathan's here. Although, could be interesting to see if he keeps it on the black stuff. As that was Daniel Kinsman and Matthew Kinsman coming together, both taking each other out. So that's allowed Bugler to go through and take the 7th position, as Brad Jesson has officially won race number 3. As apparently Craig Priest is actually coughing on fumes, so he's actually so that's not ideal. So that's allowed Nathan Addis to go on to 4th, and Taylor Oakes to 5th. Is Craig actually going to make it to the line? That's the question. So is he going to make it? Yes, he will. He will have just made it to the line and will just manage a 6th place position finish. Peter Reid will take 2nd. Luke Dunsford will take a 3rd position, rounding up the podium. What a race. As there's going on. What a shunt to finish the race. That's a shunt and a half. He's in the fence. They're both in the fence. They're all in the fence. That's for sure. Oh dear. Anyway, so going back through the order. Nathan Addis will finish 4th. Taylor Oakes 5th. Craig Priest 6th. It's barely on fumes. Daniel Bueller 7th, Daniel Kinsman 8th, Jason Wilds 9th, Rob Derrick 10th, Chris Bramley 11th, Trevor Christensen 12th, Tony Dance 13th, Darren Owen 14th, and then you've got Matthew Kinsman in 15th, Aaron Wilson 16th, Sean Petrie 17th, all a lap down. So, we thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a very interesting night of racing, to be honest. So we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you next time in about 2 weeks' time, I believe. Yes, 2 weeks' time for the next round, for round number 7 at Hidden Valley Raceway. So we hope to see you then, and thank you for joining us.